Taurus, welcome to your Astroflower reading for February, where we're going to be going into your chakras, your aura, and pulling some tarots at the end of it for the 4-week period. Yeah, did a collective on this as well, which was really interesting. Lasted a long time actually, but you know, we will be. I'll be looking at the chakras that are connected to that reading there. You know, as we go through, because I think that'd be the most poignant sort of thing. There was an aspect of like where Taurus, you're coming into the last 3 months before your birthday, so you're going to be highly into your autumn period. I've talked about this in other videos. It's a moment of reflection for the last year and what to put into place for the coming year, which is after your birthday. So you put it all into place, and then when your birthday turns up, that's when you put it into action. Generally, you know, it's nothing's perfect. So generally, if you can get into that sort of rhythm, it does help a lot with the energy, basically. And then your root chakras here are reflecting that, and it's also you got the same reflection as what you have on the collective reading on your right hand side on your root chakra. But this isn't so much in transition, but this is almost as if this is the part that's coming to rest, as it were, coming into focus. So over this next sort of month, most certainly, I think you're going to focus a lot more on where you're going, what you're doing, why you're going, why why you're doing it like this and everything like that. Just putting everything into place, basically. That seems to be the most sort of like prominent sort of thing. There is here we are on the sacrum, so there is a good deal of healthy relationship between the work and play ethic, basically within your sacrum. I don't think you'll want to. I don't think there's like desires as per se, like the desire to buy a brand new car. It may be something that's what you want to do in the coming year, but I don't think it's I've got to get it now. That's it's not that sort of energy. There's a lot of patience in there. Sort of, I need to set things right and cover costs and cover everything before I start moving on into your own personal sort of desires and stuff like that. So it seems pretty harmonious in that sort of respect. Let's just have a look what's going on in your solar plexus. Now, this is reflecting the collective reading quite a lot. There is an aspect here which seems to be reduced in the part of the solar plexus that is, which is sitting directly underneath the heart chakra. Sorry, and just want to see what's going on there. Well, this could be that transition in the autumn period as well, I guess. But that aside, it may mean that you get a lot of passion coming in to your heart's desires. You got a lot of sort of going on where the emotions may get a little bit fiery with you. Which you've got a lot of fire at your base as it is, and a lot of fire within you, Taurus, of course. But here is it's the connection to the heart, so it might get a bit sort of hot under the collar in regards to relationships, possibly. But the rest of it is well defined, and it's almost as if like you understand what the change is all about. This is, you understand where we should be going as a collective, and you're heading down that road, but you may get that feeling that people around you are not heading in that road or in that direction in the same way in which you are. And that may create a little bit of disappointment. It'd be interesting to sort of see what's going on with your guides here, how your guides are trying to influence your karmic path for this month. See whether there's a 5 of cups in that sort of situation. But it does sort of like, it does sort of heat the heart a lot more. It could also open doors to passion, but I don't often see it in that sort of vein within the chakra setup. It's more of a case of there's a lot of emotions that get caught up in your solar plexus and a lot of your fire. So basically, it can be a little bit difficult. So I'd be very wary about getting into confrontations or talking about emotional sort of situations, which you feel like you're getting passionate about, that you may say something that you will regret and everything like that. So I'd just be a little bit wary of that. But the rest of it does seem to be in line with what's going on in the collective. So you might find yourself sort of caught between two worlds in a way. And it's difficult for you to sort of progress without being sort of, with those sort of difficulties within you. Let's just see what's going on the heart chakra here. Well, there's a lot more on the interior of your heart, and this could, in the interior of your heart, there's a lot of emotions in that section there, and that's probably what's feeding that solar plexus sort of energy as well. That fusion between the two, and there might be a lot of sort of deep emotional situations that come to the surface. If we look on the outside of the heart chakra, it's very active, it's very engaged, there's a lot of sociability within all of that, but there's something that's dealing with inside. It could be a disappointment with a situation. It might mean that you're going to have to give up a dream or something like that, or if you've wanted to be an astronaut and you get to the age of 60 and you realize they finally tell you that no, you can't go up to the in space or something like that. It'd be pretty it's a realization, I think, more than anything else, rather than which may make you feel a little bit disappointed with it. It could be into long-term plans, but then again, the reason I think it's going to be okay, I think it's going to be absolutely fine, simply because I've got a funny feeling that what you're going to give up is because it's going to leave space for something new. And that's probably what you should be doing in order to evolve yourself on a spiritual sort of sense, emotional sort of sense, but also on your material sort of sense in the world. But yeah, there is that sort of connection going on there, and there is this connection with the outside world. There is very sociable. The heart is nicely full. It's not overloaded. The center is slightly overloaded, but the exterior is a lot less overloaded, and there is those sort of socializing petals going on. They're very calm. Then it's not overboard either, which is really nice. So it's very sort of harmonious sort of socializing, nothing stressful at all within it. It looks really nice. Let's see what's going on in your third eye and your throat chakra. Okay, so this is communications, and I think this is where the passion is going to be running up through you, running up from that solar plexus through your heart right up to your throat. So I would be very wary about sensitive conversations, basically. If you're going to have a sensitive conversation, there is a way round it, very simple way round it, is that you take the words of judgment out of the conversation. It's really simple to do. It's you, I, me, basically. So then we've only got us and we. So you say the way we park the cars makes our life difficult. So you're no longer sort of kind of going, the way you park the car makes my life difficult. If you understand what I mean. If you start with that sort of premise, you could examine these things that I think there are blockages that are being freed up from within you. This is what I said earlier on. I think it's going to be a really advantageous time for you, February, because it's almost going to release a lot of pressure that you've been holding on to, which will allow you to progress in loads of different areas. And it's going to come out through communication, and that could also be listening to the other person as much as speaking. But it seems to be coming from a very passionate place, basically. Let's just see what's going on with the crown chakra. although it's quite loaded, I think it's very clear for you. You may have the sensation of having a lot on your plate, but then that could well be down to that autumn factor as well, because you're going to be assessing a lot of things from within you, and that's what's also driving that inner emotion towards your heart. But within the crown chakra itself, it's very clean. It's very it's very clean. It's very vibrant. It's very consistent all the way through. There's no sort of floppiness or there's no sort of holes and stuff like that. It seems to be that yes, you may have a lot on your plate, but you have it covered at the moment, Taurus. You've got it covered. And I think this is going to play out in a very powerful sense for you, in a positive sense, as much as powerful. It's going to be a lot of realizations that come from within that then you can drive them forward into your future and create a lot for you. Major opportunities this will provoke by the looks of it, especially with the formation of the solar plexus, because the majority of the solar plexus is in tune with everything that is going on around you, within the changing world, within the humans and etc. So I would just be a little bit wary of those sort of personal conversations, those conversations that could be very passionate. If it feels really good as well, that's the other thing. It could sort of, on a positive side, it could be driving a lot of getting really, really close to someone by opening up to the other person through your emotions in your heart and etc. That's going to be that could well be a possibility. And as I say, I think I'd like to see what's going on with the Taurus to get a full view of that. I think it's going to become very clear in that. Let's move on to your aura. Okay, there's a few snags on the left-hand side, which is that sort of internal conflict, either with another person or with a situation, or that internal conflict with yourself. But there seems to be that you're banging your head against the wall a little bit here, Taurus. And I think it's to do with yourself, simply because you're in that autumn period. Where do I want to be? What do I want to be doing? There's a lot of things that seem to be connected to that. The rest of the aura, though, is actually quite smooth. It's lovely. The energy is flowing nicely around it, and even the jagged bits there, which is that symbolizes sort of self-sabotage in a way, or self-conflict, or conflict with others that is just sort of within you, as it were. Even that seems to be smoothing. So it's almost sort of saying, you got that attitude that sort of says a little bit of, you take the rough with the smooth. And, it's the yin and the yang. That's the sort of attitude that I think will prevail in order for you to get the best out of this changing situation that not only you are going through, but we are all going through. And we're all going through this together. And, and it's going to play out certainly within March. It's going to be I'm very apt to sort of see what goes on in March reading as well. Okay, so I would those sort of things at the end of the day with those jagged bits which are on the aura. It's very simple to do. It's just a case of sort of saying you sit down in a meditation, you look at the things that you thought about during the day, you look at the conflictual points that you thought about, the things that you were looking at, and you can sort of say, bring me back those thoughts. There's no point in me thinking that. It's not going anywhere. It's just causing anything but pain. And you breathe that out of your rhythmical fashion of your daily life. So you no longer got it within you. You're no longer within that conflictual sort of point. And it can take a day, and it can take a week. It depends on what you're dealing with, really. But on a steady process, if you do it on a regular basis, it does tend to sort of help you cut out a lot of those conflicts that you can have buzzing around. Like we've all got them. You're not on your own there, Taurus. We've all got them. It's just a case of do you really want them? I guess. You know, let's go on to your Astroflower Taurus now. Let's see what's going on here. This is the overall energy for the month. There's projects that you actually there's projects that you're dealing with and working on at the moment, and the overall energy here for this month is almost sort of saying, just keep your head down and get the projects done. You know, get the projects really well centered. I think this is a bit of a gift month for you in a way, because this gift is almost you and what you do in order to get forward, and your input into the whole thing is going to give you some very good returns. It's almost as if like the energy is sort of saying, you know, we'll match you stride for stride. You put in this amount of effort, and so will the universe, as it were. That's what the overall energy is here. There is definite, as I said, I think there's some things in this period here where you're going to realise that maybe now is not the moment to do it, and maybe now is the moment to do something else. And that something else is obviously something that comes out of your passion, that comes a little bit out of the blue. So if you get an idea where you kind of go, do you know what, I want to make this. I want to make treacle tart or something like that. And it will, you know, I would start making treacle tart, and you end up being a baker. You know, making a treacle tart sort of company. So I think I would follow those sort of like a little bit out of the blue ideas, because it will lead you to new avenues. Let's just see, and this could also be on the relationships as well. Here we're on the karmic message for the relationships. It says build bridges. Maybe that's building bridges through those emotions that are within your heart, Taurus. It could help you to connect with other people, to allow your passions to come through your heart and actually have those conversations, which could really build bridges with other people. That's what it seems like to me. Yeah, building bridges going forward, nurturing. Yeah, that's a similar sort of thing. That is nurturing. You know, he's nurturing those seeds, that plant, because he's doing that bridge from seed to fruit, and he's in that process of doing that nurturing bit. So I think I think it's connecting with the people around you that you want in your life. Basically, I think that's a really good idea. Let's just see what's going on the how the divine plan is sort of influencing your karmic message. There's this almost as if it's like there needs to be a pillar within your relationships around you, and it appears that you need to be a bit of that pillar. Or maybe you're taking on too much from the relationships that are around you, that they are dependent upon you. It's playing one way or the other. It seems like you can have both sides of the story. Yeah, there is a Two of Pentacles. I would, you know, focus on what is important and do it and get it done, or focus what is important within those relationships and connect with them and nurture one by one, rather than trying to run everything or do everything from a sort of like from a distance, as it were. I'd get in there and get involved with other people. There also could be this is not going to be for all of you, but it could well be something that comes to light within your relationships that turns you from focusing on one type of relationship or one aspect of your relationships around you to another. And so that's what it, you know, that's a real possibility as well. But it all seems to be tied in as well to the physical world. Let's just see, that's the sort of first week. Let's just see what's going on the second week. This is where your guides as well. So this is where, like, you know, your ancestors are trying to sort of influence this sort of on the second week here. or it's also how the guides influence you over this month. It's come come join me at the table. That's what they're sort of saying. I think it's time to work together, get things organised between us. So I would really talk to your sort of guides at the moment. Yeah, I said disappointment, didn't I? And I would be interested to see what was over on this side. You get the Ten of Swords, and I think, yeah, we come back to that part of that heart there that might be a little bit painful to look at in the middle of the week. The thing is, it's the Ten of Swords. It's not the Three of Swords. It's almost as if something that you've been through in the past, or there's a realization about someone within your family that's, it's going to hurt maybe a little bit. I'd like to tell you otherwise, but I'm telling you, what what's coming out of the visions on the chakras and all of that, in combination with the cards. And I think here is where your guides are sort of they're coming in close for a cuddle. They're coming in close for sort of saying, you're not on your own. You don't have to carry everything. You need to just let it out, sort of scenario. And it could also be after a long year with that autumn period of kind of going, it's been hard this year. It's been fraught with lots of things. And your guides are sort of saying, okay, it's now time to just realize what you want to keep, what you want to get rid of, what you want to let go of, and that sort of thing. Let's just see what's going on how you guys are influencing the conversation that is within you. This is the social aspect. On the third week as well, so on the third week, it's I think, so first week there's a sort of discovery, there's an understanding within you, you're nurturing new paths around you, building bridges rather than breaking them, confronting a situation. Then on the third week here, there is this sort of release mechanism that comes into play. And as I said, things are moved out the way in order for you to open up to other things. It's just making space for you. So that's what seems to be coming up in the third week. Five of Pentacles. Now, obviously, if it was on the other side, you could say money loss, but this is on the relationship side. And I think, you've got pretty much nothing but Pentacles and Swords here. Earth and air, they don't mix very well. The Pentacles will consume the air. So the Pentacles will consume the Swords a lot more. That's what Earth does. Earth consumes the air. And in this consummation, of the mental sort of side of life, that sort of side of life, or the communications, which is Swords as well, it may be a case that you've been working a lot and not really, giving time over to your relationships. You've been occupied. And you might realize this at the moment, and that might be that realization. As I said, it could be a conflict from within yourself. And you might realize that, I've got to invest more in the relationships if I want them to stay alive around me. And you've got to nurture them. So that could well be the realization within you, Taurus. It might be big, it might be small, but it's connected to the following year. Let's just see how what's going on the financial sort of side. And then we'll come into the overall outcome in the fourth week, how it all sort of combines together. And karmic message here for this week here on the financial sort of side. Keep it cool. It's don't rock the boat. Don't rock the boat, baby. Flip the boat over. What was that? Who was that? Don't rock the boat, baby. Yeah. I think that's what it's sort of saying there. That's that passion on the solar plexus, and you can see it's been leaking into your relationship side. On that side, that's the rhythm of your life that's really pushing you through. Maybe you've got a lot on, and it's, people. Maybe what I was saying earlier on, that people around you may not realize and this is what I'm sort of saying, that some people may not be coming down the path with you, and it's a little bit sort of maybe a realization that you're into this rhythm now and you can't stop. Don't stop till the body jumps, get up. You can't stop, Taurus. You've got to keep plowing on through. I think it's worth it. I really do. Looking at the overall energies and in the two karmic paths here, it's certainly not. Cards are sort of saying, give up at all. If anything else, it's sort of saying, be bloody mindedness and just plow on through, as it were. Let's just see how the divine plan is influencing Carmen's message. This is the first week of February as well. Okay, so there's, with the constant that you've been getting into over the last 2 months, I would have thought, that's in your summer period. You're getting some good results, and it's now ticking over for you. There is an aspect of the universe sort of saying, and now what you're going to do with it, now what you're going to do with it. And there is also another aspect of sort of kind of going, let's make a cushion, let's make a safety net in the financial world that is around you. Yeah, there's a lot of things coming in, I think, after this constant, this constant work which you've been doing since October, I think, mainly. And it's a case here of sort of realizing those sort of gifts, but what are you going to do with them? Now it's starting to pay off. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? There's choices to be made, I think. And I think that's what the Ace of Swords does. But there is a lot of passion that comes through it as well. Let's just see how the second week comes out for you. This is where the don't give up. I think the gifts here from the universe that start in the beginning of the month, it's almost like a carrot in the way that's encouraging you to progress forward. And this week here is almost sort of saying, and this is where the ancestors, your sort of guides, are sort of saying to you, don't give up now. You keep moving on. It's a bit of a tower moment. So this could be in the second week in February. It ties into this side. This is all to do with that heart and the solar plexus going from one to the other, going through one to the other. Complicated situation in that second week. I would be very observant of, what you do, what you say, how you do things, and everything like that, basically, because it may be a little bit too passionate. I think this is where it's clearing out of certain ideals, which will make space and make way for future stuff for you. In the third week, and this is how how the guides are influencing your here and now, as it were. Let's just see what's going on there. This is like a new cycle. This is a new beginning for you. It's a new day. It's a new cycle. It's a new day, and we want to have fun. What was it? Primal Scream song, that sort of song. And working with other people. I think it's clear something is coming through that's clearing out something in order to make room and space for other things in life. It's another Pentacles. It's the Three of Pentacles. I think it's also realization that you've done that good work. That opportunities that are coming in, those offerings that are coming in, it's almost as if now you know what you want to do with them. basically. Now you want to know. Now you know what to do with them. And I think it's connecting with other people that are around you. And this may pull you in a certain direction, away from, the relationships that you normally would have around you, which may give you that sensation by the end of the month that you're sort of, you're almost shut out of all those sort of relationships around you. Let's just see how it sort of plays out at the end for you by the end of the month. I've got a funny feeling this ties into what all goes on in the beginning of March, but at the beginning it was almost as if there was like a breath of fresh air, and then it was a case of being in a situation where you can welcome people in. So you've done this journey, you've got to a situation, you've got to a position within your life where you can actually invite people into your life. And these could be people from the past that maybe have shut you out from the past and etc. I think definite revelation for you. Evolutionary step. It's massive, and this almost as if this needs to happen here. And it's, if you don't confront it, it will confront you. I need to get another one on that side because I want to see what is happening. Yeah, I want to see what's happening for the relationship side. I think it's an evolution on the financial sort of side more than anything else. But on the relationship side there, it's almost as if it's like a rebirth. You've reconnected with those emotions that are within inside you. You've dealt with this situation that has been heavy on your heart, I think, or a situation that was created a bit of heaviness on the heart for you. But you get through it in flying colours, Taurus. And as you do get through it, all of a sudden you're going to be in a really good position going forward. There you go. Go and have a look at the monthly reading for the collective, because it will tie into a lot of things I've been, I'm talking about here. And that will be linked in the at the end of this video. Yeah, there you go, Taurus. Don't forget your weekly readings come out on the Thursday night. So in the meantime, don't forget, life should be fun. So please do enjoy.